Well, hello everybody. Third live today, and this one is pretty big, very personable to me. When we go through this, I'm warning everybody, not from my language or swearing. This is going to bring up painful memories of a chapter a lot of people have flipped the page on. It's a Joe Biden chapter. It is the first and worst executive order known to the Western free world, basically the allies of World War II. And it was the Joe Biden, Boris Johnson New Atlantic Charter, June 10th, 2021. We're going to get into a video you have to see. And why am I doing this? Well, Arno Excellent, ex-follower, Canada 51st State, he brought forward the most recent, in the last hour, Donald J. Trump Truth Social post where he says, I am rescinding 92% of Joe Biden's auto pen executive orders. Now, one of those leading up to this meeting with Boris Johnson, the UK, was that of the new Atlantic Charter. Folks, if you've never read the Atlantic Charter 1941, you should. It ran for 80 years uninterrupted and weak, mentally debilitated. You're going to see it in the video anyway. But honestly, Donald J. Trump in 2018 developed the China G7 radar, where governments, including Joe Biden's administration, probably not Joe Biden, as we see him very weak here early on in his presidency. You're going to see the video, but it's going to bring up a lot of bad memories of COVID-19 for a lot of folks. It's going to upset a lot of Americans. It's going to remind them just how crazy America got on the brink. And it's at this time, as I know my longest and dearest followers at the height of COVID-19, when I started across Canada, I took the injections too, much the same as Trump and his family did too in his administration. I did these ones here too because I wasn't going to be stopped at the American border. I wasn't going to be shut down in Manitoba, which many people in my industry were. And it was the first time in my life I said, you know what? I'm doing this. They're going to take it all away. I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight. Whether people like to hear that or not, when I play this video, maybe it's going to bring you back to that time and it's going to bring back those memories, as sucky as that is. And I don't like to do it to everybody, but the New Atlantic Charter, folks, before I play this video, I too, like Donald J. Trump, did my own G7 USA radar. Absolutely, as a tremendous friend and mentor of mine, John Carpe, did as well too, on international health, domestic health, the move of the WHO, the WEF, the WTO. I can go on and on and on. IMO, IOM. I went to the world and back beyond anybody else in Canadian history, probably, on all of these NGOs. I took the shots. I didn't stop. I needed to break through the barriers, whether people like that or not. I don't care. It's my body, my rights to do what I want to do, and I did them in my time. But folks, it was all the other of it. This new Atlantic Charter, the transition for America. I'm going to give you the results of the work I did on health and immigration. June 10th, 2021, Joe Biden ratified that. Within 30 days it was open. Do you know what happened by the end of July 2021? USA experienced its largest ever surge and absolute border crossing of more than 5.8 million illegals into the United States. Do you know what Joe Biden and his government administration did to America? They released everybody detained over the last year and a half under still Donald J. Trump policies. All those many arrested who were caught illegally entering the United States, criminals and the rest of it, Joe Biden released all of them within a month under the new Atlantic Charter, under Sustainable Development Goals, diversity, equity, inclusion, modeled after who? The United Kingdom, his promise. He began aggressively shipping money all over the world, borrowing against the American people whom he had shut down and started borrowing against for COVID-19 vaccinations. And then he purchased a mass amount of those and gave them away unto the world. Trump's procurement, military transformations. We go into Afghanistan the day of the new Atlantic Charter, and them position himself to pull out of Afghanistan and leave all of those military procurements behind. We just watched everybody, American or Canadian, we watched an Afghan from that release of Joe Biden, those 5.8 million people, and then onward every month until Texas lost it and many of the southern states. Illegals flooded America, almost as bad as Canada, 10 times less than their size, almost as bad. I don't think Americans realize how many illegal made legal are in Canada today, doubling your numbers. And you Americans should know this cleanup over just the last year of Donald J. Trump, what it's cost you, what it still cost you, even though it's almost done. Imagine something like that doubly as bad with a border 5.5 times that of Texas. Unsecured completely, no walls, no nothing. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the security threat? Folks, I'm going to bring you back to that time, but I wanted to hit all the other areas of analysis I completed a very long time ago during COVID. Many didn't want to hear it. All they could do was WHO and COVID shots, the rest of it. But I had done all that other work. All of that other work. And I release that now because you're going to hear at that date and time from the old Atlantic Charter that promised equality of the person and so much more. This is Joe Biden. Make America subjects again. And folks, I want to remind you, he gave, especially for Americans, he gave away so much of that procurement, left all that military that day in Afghanistan, committed to dropping all of it. Americans died that day. But who cares, right? It was all about all the COVID deaths that Joe Biden claims were more than all the American casualties of World War I, II, Vietnam War, and absolutely 9/11 combined. That's his claim, okay? And now here we are, everybody, whether you're Canadian or American, here we are in 2025. Does any of this ring true as the nutcase Joe Biden and his warped brain? But I think Donald J. Trump's right. When you listen to this video, you hear him skipping a beat already then. He's fried, reading off a script written by the United Kingdom. This is my works back in time. It is painful to bring a lot of this up, and I know it's going to trigger a lot of people, but I need you to hear it in your own words. And this is a Dear Donald J. Trump. If you're going to remove 92% of those executive orders, it must start with the worst and most critical, that which destroyed the country that you've worked so very hard past retirement. Sir, President Trump, we all love you, but you're 79 years old, working at a tremendous pace to undo all of that for your damage. I am bringing you, sir, to that reminder. Listen to this speech This is the one executive order. The climate change, the world health, beholden by and funded by American taxpayers, citizens made subjects, and there's more. There's all the climate emergency and crazy. I want you all to remember this. He paid for the vaccinations of more than 100 third world nations. Oh, no big deal. Americans have tons of money. This was a $7 trillion nosedive by Joe Biden just in this year, and it's now equal to over $10 trillion when you factor in the budget that Donald J. Trump's run down about, Elon Musk runs him down about, lots of Americans who claim to be MAGA Republicans or close to Donald Trump run him down about. I want you all to remember this. I highlighted this. All my friends and followers know I did. I went across Canada in a tour, suit and tie, in that pandemic, smashing these issues home beyond this of COVID-19, even though I hit that too. But I was shut down on many forums. Many Canadian politicians that shared the stage with me, they certainly loved to cut it off when I got into the immigration. The mass illegal immigration made legal in Canada that's now doubly the threat that Donald J. Trump has spent tremendous amounts of money, in fact, going in the hole nearly $1 trillion with ICE deportations, all of it, for America, cleaning it up for America. And remember, this is the time of the Afghan surrender, leaving it all behind. And what happened? Now 2 National Guards are dead. Without further ado, I'm going to take you to the past. If you're an American Canadian that was truly affected by all this, and you don't really want to go through it again, don't watch this, move on. But for those with the heart and the courage to make the world a better place, if you're for Canada, the 51st state, and you truly understand why, this is point critical. And again, thanks Arno Excellent. Thank you, Jonathan Bahai. It's really Arno Excellent for bringing this up. Obviously a big follower. I don't know if you're on my Facebook following me. You must be for some time, because Atlantic Charter is a big bread and butter, most highest item for me. And with Trump's announcement today, I don't know if this bilateral agreement, even though it was done originally under executive order, Biden went, he's in UK. This is Joe Biden skipping a beat, reading off a script. We'll see if Donald J. Trump includes this, and I really believe he should. If Donald J. Trump doesn't want to be World Health, which he says he doesn't want Americans funding that, he's trying to decentralize the world. The only way effectually to do that, Donald J. Trump, is to end the new Atlantic Charter, and I would suggest going back to 1941, where the Allies should be. Not a blank check for mass immigration, not a blank check for socialism in the name of climate change, mass socialism and fascism in combined with WHO and IOM. World Health Organization, International Organization of Migrants, 2 terrifically awful NGOs based out of the Palace of Nations, where USA is fuck all. I said I wasn't going to swear, but I did. But in that system of UK, France, Spain, and Japan, USA is garbage, the shit on a man's boots. You are nothing. Nothing. And I want Americans to understand that. Here is your president, Joe Biden, signed on the new Atlantic Charter in UK, struggling to read his speech, and damning all Americans to global subjugation and lack of sovereignty.
This is an ABC News special report. Now reporting, David Muir.
Good afternoon, and we're coming on the air at this hour because President Biden is about to deliver his
his first address while overseas, including a major announcement from Cornwall, England. He is expected to reveal plans for the U.S. to donate 500 million doses, a half a billion doses, of the Pfizer vaccine to poor nations around the world. President Biden on the world stage this week, his first international trip since taking office. Let's listen.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to express our condolences on behalf of Jill and I to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, the entire royal family, and the people of the United Kingdom. Today would have been Prince Philip's 100th birthday. I know there are a lot of people. Feeling his absence today. In addition, I'd like to point out that the first full day here in the UK, Johnson and I had a very productive meeting. We discharged and discussed a broad range of issues on which the United Kingdom and the United States are working in very close cooperation. We affirmed the special relationship, it is not said lately, the special relationship between our people, and we renewed our commitment to defending the enduring democratic values that both our nations share. That is the strong foundation of our partnership. 80 years ago, Prime Minister Winston Churchill and President Franklin Roosevelt signed an agreement known as the Atlantic Charter. It was a statement of first principles, a promise that the United Kingdom and the United States would meet the challenges of their age and they would meet it together. Today, we build on that commitment.
Yeah, ending colonialism.
Charter, updated to reaffirm that promise while speaking directly to the key challenges of this century: cybersecurity, emerging technologies, global health, and climate change. We discussed our common goals for driving ambitious global action to address the climate crisis. The Climate Leaders Summit that I hosted in April was in part about helping drive forward the momentum toward the critical COP26 that the UK will host in Glasgow later this year. We talked about the shared sacrifices our service members have made, bravely serving side by side in Afghanistan for close to 20 years. The UK was with us from the start, as they always are, equally committed to rooting out the terrorist threat. And now we're coordinating our withdrawal together. And of course, we talked about how our two nations can together lead the global fight against COVID-19. That's been a major focus of the G7 under British leadership, particularly in focusing and coordinating our resources to help vaccinate the world. And tonight, I'm making an historic announcement regarding America's leadership in the fight against COVID-19. America knows firsthand the tragedies of this pandemic. We've had more people die in the United States than anywhere in the world. Nearly 600,000 of our fellow Americans, moms, dads, sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, grandparents, more deaths from COVID-19 in the United States than from World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War, and 9/11 combined. We know the tragedy. We also know the path to recovery. The United States has now vaccinated 64% of our adults with at least one shot. Just 4.5 months ago, we were at only 5% with one shot. It took a Herculean effort on the part of our government to manage one of the biggest and I would say most complicated logistical challenges in our history. It took the ingenuity of scientists, building on decades of research to develop a vaccine. It took the full capacity of American companies manufacturing and delivering the vaccines around the clock. And as a result, we have the lowest number of daily deaths since the first day of this pandemic. Our economy is rebounding. Our vaccination program has already saved tens of thousands of lives, with that count growing each day, has allowed millions of Americans to get back to living their lives. And from the beginning of my presidency, we've been clear-eyed that we need to attack responsibility, our humanitarian obligation, to save as many lives as we can, and our responsibility to our values. We value the inherent dignity of all people. In times of trouble, Americans reach out to offer help, to offer a helping hand. That's who we are. And when we see people hurting and suffering anywhere around the world, we seek to help as best we can. That's why under both Republican and Democratic presidents, the United States has made transformative commitments to bolster global health. Commitments under President Bush, like PEPFAR, which changed the global fight against HIV/AIDS. And in this moment, our values call us to do everything that we can to vaccinate the world against COVID-19. It's also in America's self-interest. As long as the virus rages elsewhere, there is a risk of new mutations that could threaten our people. We know that raging COVID-19 in other countries holds back global growth, raises instability, and weakens governments. And as we've seen in the United States, with evidence clear day by day, the key to reopening and growing economies is to vaccinate your people. Our vaccination program has helped the American economy begin to recover from the worst economic crisis in a century. Over 2 million new jobs created just in the last 4 months since I've become president. An historic decline in long-term unemployment. Businesses reopening, and a projected economic growth of 6.9%, the fastest in nearly 4 decades in America.
By borrowing $7 trillion.
It is in all of our interest to have the global economy begin to recover as well. And that won't happen unless we can get this pandemic under control worldwide. That's why, as I said in my address to the joint session of Congress in April, America will be the arsenal of vaccines in our fight against COVID-19, just as America was the arsenal of democracy during World War II. Over the past 4 months, we've taken a number of steps toward this historic effort. We have contributed more than any nation to COVAX, a collective global effort that is delivering COVID-19 vaccines across the world. We've supported manufacturing efforts abroad through our partnerships with Japan, India, and Australia, known as the Quad. We've shared doses with our neighbors, Canada and Mexico. And in addition, 3 weeks ago, with America's vaccine supply secured, and with confidence we have enough vaccines to cover every American who wants one, we announced that we would donate 80 million doses of our own vaccine in-house now to supply the world by the end of June. Many of these doses are shipping to countries around the world as we speak. And today, we're taking a major step that will supercharge the global fight against this pandemic. In my direction, the United States will purchase an additional 500 million doses from Pfizer vaccine, that will donate nearly 100 low and lower middle income countries. They will be the beneficiaries. Let me say that again. The United States will purchase 500 million doses of Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine to donate to nearly 100 nations that are in dire need in the fight against this pandemic. That's a historic step. The largest single purchase and donation of COVID-19 vaccines by any single country ever.
Trillions in debt for the American people.
mRNA vaccine, which has proven to be extremely effective against COVID-19 and every known variant of that virus thus far. These 500 million vaccines will start to be shipped in August, as quickly as they roll off the manufacturing line. 200 million of these doses will be delivered this year, 2021, and 300 million more will be delivered in the first half of 2022. Let me be clear. Just as with the 80 million doses we previously announced, the United States is providing these 500,000 doses with no strings attached. Let me say it again, with no strings attached. Our vaccine donations don't include pressure for favors or potential concessions. We're doing this to save lives, to end this pandemic. That's it. Period. I also want to thank
Trillions. He gave away trillions.
the CEO and chairman for joining me today. We've gotten to know each other over the last few months. He and I and his entire team have he's really stepped up at this critical stage in our fight against the pandemic. And the plan is for 500 million doses that we'll be sending around the world to be produced in the United States, including
At taxpayer expense, they don't have the money, so he borrowed it. Another Trudeau.
years ago, not too far from that plant in Kalamazoo, in the Detroit area, American workers built tanks and planes and vehicles that helped defeat the global threat of fascism in World War II. They built what became known as the arsenal of democracy. Now, a new generation of American men and women, working with today's latest technology, is going to build a new arsenal to defeat the current enemy of world peace, health, and stability, COVID-19. Albert was gracious enough to welcome me to Kalamazoo plant back in February. It's incredible, the ingenuity, the care, the safety that goes into every single dose as I toured the entire plant. Most of all, when you're there, you feel the pride of every worker there feels, how the pride they feel in what they're doing. I've been to a lot of plants. I've worked. I'm a big union guy. I've been doing it my whole career. But you could see the looks on their faces. They were proud. I mean it sincerely, they were proud of what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. American workers will now produce vaccines to save lives of people in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean. People they will never meet and have never met. Places they've never visited and probably won't have an opportunity to. But lives saved all the same. Thanks to American leadership, American workers, hard work, and values. Let me close with this. This is a monumental commitment by the American people. As I said, we're a nation full of people who step up at times of need to help our fellow human beings, both at home and abroad. We're not perfect, but we step up. And we're not alone in this endeavor. That's the point I want to make. We're going to help lead the world out of this pandemic, working alongside our global partners. Under the UK chairmanship of the G7, democracies of the world are poised to deliver as well. This U.S. contribution is the foundation for additional coordinated efforts to help vaccinate the world. The British government, Prime Minister, has led a strong campaign to get people vaccinated across the UK. I'm grateful they're making their own generous donation.
They didn't produce any vaccines. It's all USA. USA, trillions of dollars lost. UK never came to the finish line. Old Joe Biden pulled his pants down, his country's pants down. Trillions gone.
On these efforts in the coming days and much more. One final point I want to make clear. This is not the end of our efforts to fight COVID-19 or vaccinate the world. We have to turn manufactured doses into shots in arms to protect people and communities. That's why the United States is already providing hundreds of millions in funding to support last-minute vaccination efforts, including new funding from Congress as part of the American Rescue Plan, and working with programs in Latin America, Asia, and Africa. We're going to keep manufacturing doses, donating doses, getting jabs, as they say here in the UK, in arms, until the world has beaten this virus. I want to thank you all.
This is an ABC News special report.
Just gonna shut that down.
David Mueller. Good afternoon, and we're coming on the air at this hour because President Biden is about to deliver his first.
So folks, that was the day of the new Atlantic Charter. You heard it all of that. Everything with immigration, $10 trillion against the United States, completely in red ink, not so much unlike Canada. But remember, USA ate a tremendous amount. He bragged about increased GDP, as Donald J. Trump has told you all today, taking fierce criticism for trying to rebuild the military after Joe Biden, upon that day, abandoned all new military procured equipment, munitions in Afghanistan, let it all go. Dropped it all, walked out with the UK. As you heard, UK-led initiative, America Pay, America Procure. The total cost, $10 trillion. Do you really want to go back to that style of leadership ever again? Dear Donald J. Trump, this is your chance. That's a video, a reminder of what was, what destroyed your legacy from your first presidency, what nearly killed America and devastated the free world. You've come a long way in a year's time. But if you're going to make a list of all executive orders, you need to end that one. USA's whole idea of world health, USA's idea of mass illegal immigration, all things I know you want to do. And it's kind of ironic on this day that you make your announcement is also just the same time as the Afghan who shot those brave soldiers, National Guardsmen, outside the White House that I had a privilege to tour just a little over a year ago. And to see that and how great that was, and to hear that most horrific action ever committed that I've ever known of the White House. And then here we are, and this reminder, if you're going to take out executive orders in the 92nd percentile, it has to be this one, and you have to end that bilateral agreement with the UK, because UK never procured any vaccines. Anyone can look at that. They never honored their side of it. America ate it all. Americans ate trillions upon trillions of dollars. You were nearly flatlined. Trump has begged for investment around the world. You heard Joe Biden. Has Canada come to bail you out, USA, when you need investment when Trump called? No, they got the middle finger from Canada. But you heard what Joe Biden said. They procured first for Canada and Mexico giveaways. Of course, Trudeau, I remember. Everybody line up. Yeah, UK didn't make anything. They never made it to the finish line. Only 3 real countries did. Russia first, USA close second, and China. Many way after this, but that initial massive trillions of dollars invested and procured and manufactured by USA, that was given away to 100 countries out of 191. Canada and Mexico were first. How did that work out when Trump called for investment? Which countries lined up first for the United States? Oh yeah, it wasn't Canada or Mexico. In fact, USA got a middle finger. That's the Christian American and what you get when you vest yourself in monarchies and tyrannies. And these are colonial countries, both of them, coming from where? Europe and United Kingdom, what Joe Biden foolishly signed on to in World Health, IOM, International Organization of Migrants, and the road to the massive illegal immigration. Trump is spending nearly $1 trillion all in all to clean up in debt, which is Joe Biden's debt. It's all from that video that day forward. 5.8 million Joe Biden released a month later under UK leadership, because in UK and Canada, those people aren't illegal. Let them go. They have a right. That's my video, folks. Share. And let's all pray that Donald J. Trump hears that message, takes that time to at least look at that video. That was the day Joe Biden destroyed Trump's legacy forevermore, attempted to, and now Donald J. Trump came back at 79 years old to erase 4 years of Joe Biden and course correct America. Spent 1 year at the age of 79 when he doesn't need to in his billions of dollars. But he did that. He came back after a tremendous beating, came back to give you all this first year of reset in America and really, honestly, the free world, even Canada. Even though all the problems we have with Mark Carney, conservative, liberals, doesn't matter. But at least they're on notice, at least they're fearful. We all see it here in Canada, those of us awake. I hope this video finds so many well. Whether you like to view that or not, or remember those memories that are pretty terrible. When I watched the video again, I was like, wow, I remember all that. I hated that part of life. But we can't hide from these things. We need this reminder that look what Donald J. Trump's done in 1 year. Look what he's done. He's not done. And yes, Americans are committed to a lot, but it's not Donald J. Trump's fault. A lot of people try, look, Trump doing this, Trump doing that. Trump's collecting as much investment as he can to restabilize America. People who don't see that, I don't know what to tell you. It's called America First. And Joe Biden did a devastating amount of damage to the American people and really the free world, especially giving the reins of control to UK. You heard it in that video. Subjugated Joe Biden under UK's leadership. Oh, they're going to do all this too. They didn't procure shit. It was only America. Why would you give? Because you want to make America subjects again. And Americans aren't going to do that. God bless everybody. That's my video. Share, share, share. I don't know what's going to happen, but it will be a beautiful, glorious day if Donald J. Trump rescinds the New Atlantic Charter. If he does that June 10th, 2021, we're on a road to recovery here, and you're going to watch a panicked, evil, elite world. That's number one. I've always said that. Anyone who's followed me for many, many years knows since 2021 I highlighted that right off the bat. I told you that was devastating for the free world, the whole system of the Allies of World War II, and a direct threat from the old world order. A lot of folks don't know where World Health comes from, where IMO comes from, IOM comes from, WTO, WAF, and it goes on and on. Agenda 2021, Paris Climate, Agenda 2030, 2050. Folks, they've got 28 of these orgs. Even names you think are probably good are the most evil, slaving, genociding maniacs in the name of charity and feed the hungry. I kid you not. And this is a perversion of the old world. Literally child trafficking, sexual abuse, predators in the third world from first world nations with titles. Look at the royal family. Look at all the politicians. They're dirty. They're dirty. That's my video. God bless. Share, share, share. Get it out there. Bye now.